Okay. Welcome, everybody. You found us and got parked and got here and found a beer and welcome to ITEN Second Thursday. For those of you who don't know me, I don't know what rock have you been living under. No, my name is Melissa Grizzle.
So main last one of these, infamous.
And I'm Director of Entrepreneur Development with ITEN, and this is officially our last ITEN Second Thursday. We moving, and Jim Pursuit is entered the waiting room. Of course, good. We already told him to make that announcement. I'll say it again, just for our. The ITEN founder is now in the virtual room, but yeah. So welcome to ITEN Second Thursday. As most of you know, we've been doing our Second Thursday programming inside a Venture Cafe since 2014 when Venture Cafe showed up. But we have been meeting as a community on the second Thursday of the month since, familiar, what was that, 2010?
Sure.
Okay, a long time, over a decade. And so we're, we are embracing a new day in 2022. We are going to be moving to Tuesdays, and which is going to allow us to consolidate a bunch of other programming that we do, but and yes, exactly. Yeah.
Still the second.
Okay, the room. Yeah. So
We should get people beer,
yeah, that's. I really need to go. And the reason we're doing that is because, one, we have this fabulous space now that we are part of Lindenwood University. This is Lindenwood's downtown campus. If you had never been here before, in the old post office, beautiful building, lots of space. We officially have the three places that have ITEN on the glass, but we have access to this entire hall. So we might as well put it to good use. And so we're clustering things all together on Tuesday, starting with our new company onboarding. So we, for those of you who don't know, we have rolling admission to ITEN. So every month we have new company onboarding for anyone that's signed up in the previous month. And that has been traditionally on Tuesdays. And we had also, before COVID, when we were at T-Rex, we did a lot of our programming up against that, and then had some coming together for networking after elevator pitch and investor pitch and onboarding was all finished. We all came together, and we're now going to bring that back, because I think creating those intentional opportunities for our startups to connect with our community, with our mentors, with our EIRs, with each other. So we'll have new company onboarding followed by a programming block of time from like 3 to 5 that will include things from Eureka ideation in one room. You could have Eureka validation going on in the other room, or a mock angels meeting, or founder to founder in our space. We're going to get really fun, cool, comfy couches, I promise. We're going to still pimp this place out more than it is already. And then we'd have networking, and then come together for a main event like this, and then have some more networking. So mark your calendars for the 3rd, because we want to just throw caution to the wind and try a whole new week of the month. The 3rd Tuesday, January 18th. It also makes it easier mentally to prepare, have a little more time into the month before we have to do it. It was those second Thursdays that fell on the 8th were just a little too early in the month. So we're going to the 3rd week. So stay tuned for more details. We're still arguing internally over the name, but we will come out with new branding soon on that umbrella of the place to be on the 3rd Tuesday of the month. But tonight we have an awesome lineup for you guys to celebrate the hard work that our Eureka Validation cohort has gone through over the last 12 weeks, and just a little bit of context of what the program is all about. It's the second part of our two-part Eureka experience, ideation being the beginning, where people come in with an idea, they really work on their lean canvas tool. Another tool that on the platform we use, which is Lean Stack, which is, this is their slogan. That's what I'm wearing. I'm matching. We really hammer this home on that ideation, making sure they're not so in love with their solution that they're not listening to what their potential customers are telling them. And so that is a program that's open to anybody. But the people you'll hear from tonight applied to be a part of validation and were selected to participate in this 12-week program. And they're taking their canvases and their traction roadmaps and then really doing the hard work on that customer discovery, that problem discovery, figuring out, are the assumptions that I have made in my canvas correct? What are those customers telling me? We work with them on how to conduct those interviews and how to really listen. And so we'll hear from them after each of them will present their 5-minute pitch. And then we'll just knock those out. And then we'll bring them all back up here and we'll also talk about a little bit about the process and sort of learn about that journey. Because, you know, a lot of times they think they know how it's going to end. And I'm sure that some of them that you'll hear from tonight are in a different place than I thought they would be when they started this back in September. That opening day, we had them introduce themselves. You could only talk about the problem they were solving, not their solution at all. It's really hard. It's really hard when you have literally every 3 or 4 words, you're like, nope, that's solution. Nope, that's solution. Nope. Yeah. So they've come a long way. They've done a lot of really hard work. Yeah.
Like a little buzzer.
They're allowed to talk about the solution now. that eventually, you know, it's a good thing to talk about. But so, yeah, so they've been working on this since September. I just want to give a really quick shout out. Well, one, we're doing this again. So we're about to open applications for the spring cohort. That portal will open on Monday and the deadline is in January. So for those of you that have got maybe going through ideation or haven't been a part of one of our validation cohorts, this is your next opportunity to do so. And I just want to give thanks to one shout out to the EDA that is supporting us through a large grant that we were lucky enough to get earlier this year that is helping support validation, keeping it affordable for the participants and ideation completely free because of the Sprint Challenge grant that we were able to secure back in April. And then T-Rex is a partner in validation and have given year-long co-working memberships to our cohort members. And then we also partnered with another company that is called Fluent, and they have what's called a Fluency Score, which is like a FICO score for startups. So all of our startups that participated had their Fluency Score. They did a Fluency Score at the beginning, and they're about to go through that process again. And hopefully there's a delta that makes us look fabulous. So this is a new tool that Fluent is really getting some traction with investors. It's really designed to take some of the implicit bias out of the investment process and some other things to really quantify, an analysis of the risk of a particular business model. So it's a really cool tool, and they're going to be able to have access to this portal and sort of see how they're growing and getting a stronger FICO score. The ultimate goal for Fluency Scores, the ultimate goal for the Fluency Score is for investors to be able to say, we invest in companies that have this Fluency Score range. And so it helps to target the right types of investors for your stage of company. So enough of babbling from me, at least for the next 20 minutes. And I'm gonna call our first presenters, Doug, Dimitri, and Harry. Is Harry coming up first? Or are you coming up with BuildBuddy? And I'm going to pull up. We've got our Canva people on either side. And So yeah, so we're gonna power through like 5-minute pitches with everybody, or as close to 5 minutes as we can get, guys. I know how you guys like to talk about. And then we'll, like I said, pull everybody up and ask them also have questions.
Hi, my name is Doug, and we are proud to offer our company BuildBuddy. What BuildBuddy does is we are advancing the future of civilizations while empowering the workforce for tomorrow. What does that mean? Well, kindergarten was hard, right? You had to sit in front of a laptop for what, 4 hours a day? That wasn't very easy, was it? So we kind of had to look for other ways to kind of start to get engaged, or at least find other ways to be able to learn that really wasn't being served at school. And so what are some of the things we did, right? We kind of took a different approach. Well, what we realized through a little bit of discovery, especially because this was right around the same time of the pandemic, is that in the state of Missouri, at least, test scores academically were down 50% all across the state. I mean, can you imagine? Not just here in the St. Louis area, but regionally, it was a lot of folks that struggled. Also, because of the isolation that was there, and also because schools were kind of struggling to kind of figure out how do we serve students with special needs. There's a lot of anxiety, right? People are starting to get depressed, not just students, but also parents. And teachers as well. So mental health is a big issue, right? And also the fact that if we're here in city of St. Louis, how do we keep up with innovation, or are our students really prepared for the workforce? They're about ready to have the skills to prepare themselves for the workforce. So when we take a look at how do we create a solution to be able to serve parents, students, teachers, educators, and the community, we kind of like took a little bit of a different approach. If you think about like who do we play Minecraft with? Yeah, play Minecraft with your friends, right? But if you're in school, if you're in grade school, right, you don't have a credit card. You can't just go ahead and sign up with an account with your email address and password. So just like dog owners buy dog food, parents have to buy education for their kids, especially if it's not provided well in school. And so some of the things that we did a little bit differently as far as taking a homeschool approach, even though Harry was at school, is what are some of the things we did? What did you come to me and say that you wanted to do? Yeah, you wanted to play Minecraft. Now, just a quick show of hands. Raise your hand if you have kids in grade school. Okay, grandchildren. Are we still reproducing in Missouri? Okay, just check. So yeah, I started playing Minecraft, right? What else did you want to do? You're gonna make videos, right? So we started a YouTube channel. Did you know that 1 in 3 grade school students, 1 in 3, their ideal job is becoming a YouTube star? So we created a YouTube channel, and we started posting videos, things that we were learning, videos playing Minecraft, and we had more friends play, right? We kind of had that. And then think about like if you were a parent, right? You joined the PTO or you get involved in your kid's school. I kind of took on this responsibility of becoming the PTO, running the PTO for the Minecraft club. So that was super exciting. We also took a look at what other homeschooling activities could we start to learn together. And so we published a book, it's on Amazon, the 101 homeschooling activities in St. Louis you can download to your Kindle Reader. And really the goal of this is not just to summarize kind of what we learned, but also to be an inspiration for other parents, other teachers on how to create education materials that help support the community, right? Because the 101 homeschooling activities was all focused around the community. So on this platform that we ended up creating, I mean, think about this. I've just created this Minecraft platform, then other parents want to start to join. And do you remember a time when you started your very first lemonade stand? Right? or maybe you sold Girl Scout cookies, and that kind of became your own little business. Well, this is the lemonade stand of the future. And so, and through our experience with the business validation, the Eureka Experience with ITEN and Lindenwood, we ended up doing a huge shift to where it was just getting parents and kids together to actually developing a platform and a marketplace where students now become teachers, so that the students are creating a collective body of knowledge that can be shared, and we're using examples in the community to be the homework assignments that these students start to teach others how to participate. So many cool examples. I wish we had time to get to go through each one of those. So kind of one of some of the things that we offer, right? And even going into it, I was still kind of a little unclear because I hadn't talked to enough parents, right? Especially the ones who, like, I already knew. What we offer now is a safe place for kids to play online, right? Where there's a secure server that you'd be able to play. Also, think about the skills that Harry has acquired. Now, if you go onto YouTube right now on your phone and you type in his name, Harry DeVitch, you'll see that he has 90 subscribers. There's videos of all different types of things, right? But I won't get into them right now. One of the other things that I discovered that I thought was critical, or at least a shift in our line of thinking, is that this isn't this. Yeah, even though that there's 130 million people who play Minecraft worldwide, that this is actually an ideal environment for anybody for students who have ADHD or possibly on the spectrum. So that whole market segment right there becomes something that we can get into. This is one of the testimonials from one of the parents, is that the experience was so good that the kids can't stop talking about it, right? And isn't that what we want? So we're not just as a safe place to play, but they're also learning something through their participation. So we put some numbers through the lean canvas, and we came up with some very interesting numbers. And we'll make sure that this deck is available for you if you want to see afterwards. But ultimately, if we were to charge starting January of this year for $200 a year membership, by year 3, we can get to at least $3 million of revenue with 150,000 customers, which would be parents. Just on the low end, that's like the low side of it. If we start to add in other offerings in addition to the membership, that doesn't even cover this. So the market size ultimately is, if we just went for the students with ADHD, 6.1 million. For a number of homeschool students, right? That's another big market segment for us, 3.7 million. And then one out of 6 kids have some sort of developmental disability that would be, this would be useful to them. So really, we're starting off with a subscription model that we think is going to play into it. It's going to be priced at a very reasonable price point right now to be able to gain some early traction. And what's going to be so exciting is that now that we have students becoming teachers and they start to bring in others, we have a very aggressive referral strategy that's kind of put in place. So you really can't build a village on your own, right? I mean, imagine being 6 years old and having $11,500 worth of video game credits from Amazon Web Services. This is the type of power that we have and can start bringing the community together without any additional cost, just a little bit of work from up here. So even though it's just Harry and I, we've actually had our Minecraft coach was a high school student last year, and now is a freshman at Lindenwood University. So we kind of have a team now. In addition to that, St. Charles CAPS students, we have 3 high school students that are starting their internship program with us. They're going to start to help build courses. So if you've ever seen Mr. Beast play on YouTube, this is going to be the educational version of Mr. Beast that's kind of put up on YouTube, that we're sharing this collective knowledge that we start to build it that also helps the community. So ultimately, what we need right now is, I guess, 4 things. One would be nice, but 4. One would be parents for you to pick up one of these flyers, scan this, create a free account, right? We just want people to play for free, so that we can make sure that we're on the right page. Educators, we're looking for educators to create and load their courses. We're looking for funding, which a majority of that will go towards paid internships, and then any volunteer. So if you volunteered before, with PTO, we're kind of creating a virtual PTO that helps with our objectives. So, when we build together, we learn together, right?
All right, and so thanks, Doug and Harry. Next up, we have Podtrics. You want to come on up, Mark? Did you walk away with the remote? Doug? The clicker? Okay. We're not made of money here. We don't have clickers for everyone. All right.
All right. Hi, I'm Mark, creator of Podtrics and a senior at Lindenwood, graduating this weekend. So it's been a crazy week. So what is Podtrics? Podtrics is basically a cloud-based software solution that allows you to upload your audio and gain analytics as to the performance of how your episodes do, how many downloads, how many people are listening. That's kind of how and what we measure. The value prop of Podtrics is it's a central place to manage all of your content. You upload your audio, and once it's connected to Spotify, iTunes, or Google Podcasts, you don't have to upload it into each of those individual platforms. You upload it to Podtrics, we send the data and the audio directly to those platforms. If you want to change something about the episode, whether it be the description, title, update it in Podtrics, and eventually the other platforms will have that update normally within a couple hours. And it provides analytics into how your podcast is performing, again, on a macro show level. There's 4 different parts of how podcasts work. And I'm going to tell you where Podtrics fits into that. But the first part is the creative person. They have an idea, they want to share it with the world, so they're going to start a podcast about baking cookies. They want to share their favorite recipes, but in order to do so, they need their audio to be somewhere online. Just like your website needs a home on the internet, your audio does too. And maybe you're going to see where Podtrics fits in. Then you've got the listening applications. You've got Spotify, iTunes, Google Podcasts. These are the apps that are specifically on your phones. I guarantee you have at least Spotify that's on your phone. And that's what you're using to listen to this audio. The user does not need to even know that Podtrics exists. It's not a tool for them. And then you have the listener. This is the person that has those apps on their phone. This is kind of how everything fits together. You have an idea, moves into the cloud. The cloud platform sends it over to the apps, which eventually delivers it to the person. Where does Podtrics fit in? It's the cloud provider. So why do you want to use Podtrics? It's new. That's a great answer right there. It allows you to focus on what you're good at. You're good at creating audio, creating content. You don't need to know about the nitty-gritty technical details of how it gets from point A to point B. That's my responsibility. So that way your responsibility can be creating compelling content that people want to engage with. Additionally, it does surface those trends. If you suddenly see a spike in downloads on a particular date, you know that you released an episode on that date, and you're like, okay, well, let me go look at this episode, see what's different about it that caused that surge of engagement. Conversely, if you see a dip in downloads, you might want to investigate what about that episode caused that change. And again, knowing when things change and why things change allows you to create that more compelling content for your consumers. What's coming for the future of Podtrics? Social media integration. It'd be really nice to see how your podcast moves around Twitter, Instagram, Facebook. That's not something that Podtrics does right now, but it's something that I'm kind of exploring and looking into. Episode level reporting. Right now, we do reports on a show level. So you can kind of see how your show trends over time. But like I said, you do want to see on a specific episode what happened on a particular date. So you can see the downloads for that episode on a date instead of just knowing when it was published in the show. That was smooth. And then third-party integrations. Basically, there are a variety of other tools that podcasters use. And I'm looking into seeing how that would work with Podtrics to, again, allow you to become more efficient in terms of creating compelling content for your listeners. What now? Really, where I'm at with Podtrics is I need people to try it, tell me what they like, what they don't like, and basically tell me what you want to see, what you want to change, what you want removed. The whole point of the platform is it's for the creators. So creators can use it, tell me what they think, that'd be ideal. If you go to podtrics.com/ITEN, I'm going to offer you guys 14 days for free. That offer goes in perpetuity. So visit the website, sign up, 14-day free trial. And if you have questions, comments, or want to tell me how great it is or how much you hate it, send me an email, mark@podtrics.com. I would love to talk to you.
Get a QR code out on the table, right? For
Yeah,
of
there's
the
a QR code. Basically, gives you all the different ways to get hold of me.
awesome. And thanks for sharing part of your finals week with us. I realized, wasn't sure if Mark was going to be able to do it because of finals week, but I realized if you put it out there in Twitter that says come see Podtrics.
Really good
I started with him,
thing.
he's like, oh, I guess I have to show up for my validation graduation. All right. Next, I want to welcome Tara Greger with Breakwell. Where's the clicker?
Sure. Thank you. Okay. Just the middle. Middle button.
The forward and back.
Okay, perfect. Thank you. Good evening. Are you rethinking everything in your life right now? You're not alone. As the world starts to put pieces of our normal lives back together, workplaces are struggling to go back to the way that it once was. We have entered into the Great Resignation with millions of employees leaving their workplaces and millions of positions left open. Maybe. Breakwell is changing the approach to company and employee well-being. The check-the-box approach of old corporate wellness programs is not getting the job done. We are stepping outside of the box and saying goodbye to unused gym membership. No more outdated cookie cutter wellness programs. The pandemic not only highlighted a major problem in workplaces, it also changed the way we show up in our lives and our work, referring to this time as the Great Reprioritization. We had time to reevaluate and reassess our lives, and most of the things now feel optional, including our work. What we were once willing to put up with no longer exists. In our customer discovery interviews, we heard companies experience two problems. One is retention of talent, and the other was underutilization of current programs that they offer. One company reported turnover costs them $32,000 to replace one employee. It takes an average of 80 hours from start to finish. There are client interruptions. It leads to uncertainty and increased workload to the other employees. And there's a loss of knowledge and experience from that employee. Breakwell solves both of these problems. We help companies elevate their employee experience and increase retention by building employee-driven well-being programs tailored specifically to that population. We identify gaps in personal and professional development and uncover what employees truly care about to help them feel valued and heard by their employer. We are a one-stop shop in a world that one size does not fit all. We have an integrative holistic framework that has 8 areas of well-being that we focus on. Most companies focus on physical well-being. That's where the old wellness model comes in, and we are expanding it to a holistic framework that we all have. Our competition, there are companies that exist out there. Limeade is a wellness portal, but they serve over 5,000 lives. They acquired an employee engagement company in 2021 called Tiny Pulse because they knew that they needed to start listening to what employees needed so the organizations could then find the right wellness programs and build them. Engagedly is another company. They are an employee engagement survey. And Breakwell, we have a wellness portal, and we can service companies that have 10+ lives going up to as many as they have. We also have an employee engagement survey. We are currently working with IO psychologists and organizational development experts to make those surveys proprietary and be able to benchmark these companies and the employee needs throughout the year. And where our innovative approach is we offer a marketplace. So we connect workshops, webinars, coaches, classes, all our well-being providers. We help the company take action because they can actually find vetted premier providers with Breakwell. Our target customer size where we have gotten traction is our demographic. We work with companies that are small businesses without an HR department, or with businesses that have an HR generalist, and companies that are starting to see growth. So the one main thing that we see in all of these companies is people come over profit, people over process and profit. They're innovative, growth-oriented, and employee-centric. Our revenue model currently is we have a subscription base, a per employee per month. We have project base and markup and commission. Post MVP, we'll be able to do affiliate, licensing, and data. Why me? My name is Tara Greger. I am the founder of Breakwell. I worked for 15 years in the hospitality industry as a director of salon spa, but where I had a unique position to observe what motivated employees and what killed their motivation was when I spent 10 years in middle management. Our department was, we took our revenue from $400,000 to $1 million with the same people and the same walls, same operating system, but we started to build individual careers and we treated them as people and humans that came to work with a personal and professional life. Our ask today is to help us build our online platform. We are looking for introductions to angel investors, technical co-founders, or boards of advisor candidates. So we have validated all the arms of our business over the last several years, and now we're ready to build it into an online platform in a marketplace. Breakwell, building people, building companies, changing behaviors, changing lives. We are changing company wellness. Thank you. Thank you, ITEN, and everybody who helps.
And you did better than me because I completely forgot to introduce the people that did this every single 12 workshops, which are our 2 fabulous EIRs there in the back, Emily Breedlove and GB Freeman. And give a shout out to all our mentors. We had part of validation, you get paired up with a dedicated mentor. In addition to obviously GB and Emily are making themselves available in between workshops, and for some reason people, can't lose my email for some reason. But no, so you do get some specific attention with your mentor, and a sounding board in between each of the workshops. And John was Tara's, and he's, I think, on the virtual because he's one of our mentors that actually, what COVID did, expanded our mentor pool geographically. So he's in Indianapolis actually, and joined us on our mentor team. So yeah, cool. Great. Thank you, Tara. All right, next up, our Doorward guys there. And Jake. All yours.
All right, I'm giving this presentation for Peter, who did most of the work as usual. But he's in Cleveland, so if you want somebody, it's in person. So before I jump into what we learned from the ITEN program, just want to give you a little bit of context of our business. At this stage, Doorward is a social media platform built specifically for real estate. And if you're wondering why the $300 billion social real estate industry needs its own social media platform, I'll tell you. all over real estate. Perhaps this you can relate to. We see that people have a sick feeling inside, like they have to do everything themselves. So we took the best parts of social media, the crowdsourcing, the megaphone, the idea sharing, and we're empowering all these hardworking folks to leverage the most powerful asset that they own, their network. So before the program, I would say that we had a strong sense of the problem that we're solving for the individual user, Joe Plumber, Susie landlord, the individual people who may wear one or more of dozens of hats in the real estate world. But of course, wanting to scale faster, we added group functionality, thinking that there are a lot of groups out there in the real estate world. We started with real estate investment clubs, which offer networking events kind of like this for those who are interested in getting into real estate. But after a few warm introductions, we realized that cold leads were having limited success. And that put into question, in a sense, our go-to-market strategy, as well as, to some extent, our whole business model, right? So this program provided a framework for us to do a deep dive into customer discovery. And we tried to forget everything that we knew. And really, I think we did about 10 deep customer interviews. And we discovered something pretty unexpected, but something that was kind of in front of our face the entire time. And that was that while there are real estate investment clubs, right, or other groups out there, there's actually a very thin line between the person, the individual user, and somebody that's going to create a group or has already created a group out there like a real estate investment club. And I think this was because we were seeing these real estate investment clubs. We saw a box and we put them into this mental box and we're talking to them, hey, we can help you with your club. We can help you grow. We can help you monetize it. And that was totally falling, really flat. They just weren't really caring unless there was that warm introduction that they saw, right? And what this program helped us to do was to see that club was just a means to an end, right? And we were talking to them as if it was an end unto itself. That just wasn't working, right? So we started to see them as people first, right? To Tara. And that really helped us to throw out the old pitch. And we started talking to them as they were, because they had formed this club to achieve specific professional goals. And so now what we see, right, is that in the real estate industry, it's a very referral-driven industry, but even successful people can come to that point where existing set of resources or an existing pool of customers, and you reach a dead end where there's no more return on investment. You can put all the time and the effort in the world into that, but that same input is no longer going to achieve the output it once did. There's no more profit, there's no more revenue, there's no more ROI. And that's a very frustrating place to be. That's that ceiling, right? The effort ceiling. And it creates a fork in the road. One where burnout, quit, hang up the hammer, or a new day, like a realization, one that you have to expand that pool. You have to cast a wider net. You have to really find a way to scale faster. And that's been amazing, because talking to people in this sort of way is actually starting to resonate. And then meetings seem to be multiplying and snowballing. So thanks to this program, we're really happy because we discovered that we were wrong. about the problem that we thought that our solution was solving. So conclusion, thank you, right? And second, if you know of anybody in real estate, even successful folks who may, have that sick feeling that they're up against that wall, pushing all those buttons themselves, pulling all those levers themselves, trying to send as many emails as possible. We'd love to talk to them about how social real estate can help them to streamline and snowball their efforts. Contact information.
And our last, Doug, don't forget your computer.
Oh.
We've got Doug Wolf with TimeBolt, who is, that's just a sec where he plugs in the fancy things that a Mac can do.
There's nothing more frightening than plugging your personal laptop into. Where did my
Let's see, let me change this a second.
Yeah, that's not my computer.
No, I know, I'm good. I got it. It's taken, it should review now. Should it review now?
Strong.
Mhm.
Audio should be okay.
And I'm gonna, with these guys, going to give them more.
Everyone on Zoom.
I think they should be able to see it from here. Go ahead. Mhm, go ahead.
We live in an era of rapid video production. It's almost impossible not to be on video today. Is there a trick to this?
Yeah, it's to have it in the right
Can I-
computer.
Exactly. Yeah, whatever. Let's see if this works. Yeah, so we make a lot of video. It's almost impossible not to be on it today.
Want to start it again?
I don't, we need to start again.
Oh, is this the beginning? Okay, so you.
No, I can't. It's not working. It doesn't click. Could I just possibly just?
Oh, it's trying to find. Yeah,
Okay.
just close
Shift.
it.
Shift. What?
No, that doesn't make sense.
I don't think it really needs it. I think it helps it. Okay.
Well, I could stand over here.
Good spot.
I am going to start over again.
Mhm.
It's almost impossible not to be on video today. It's super easy to open up your camera, record Zoom calls. You got Twitch, post video to YouTube. If you listen to the pros on LinkedIn, they'll tell you all you need is a good audio source and a camera and you can shine. But once you hit stop record button and your rose colored glasses come off, you end up with one long raw video and a decision. Do you want to spend a lifetime learning how to edit inside this complicated design software and maybe a few people watch, or don't edit and 0 people watch? Congratulations, it's 2021, you get to choose your own hell. Because anyone with more than 5 subscribers on YouTube knows, the ultimate challenge is actually getting people to watch your video to the end. People don't have time, they certainly expect that you're not going to waste it. But yet for every minute that you speak to a camera is 18 seconds of the most poisonous thing in video today. And when I show it to you, you're going to want to squirm. You ready? dead air, time to think, time to breathe. It occupies 30% of a timeline and basically makes video of you talking unwatchable. The good news is that when you cut it out, you can look faster and smarter than real life.
You edit talking video, time is no longer going to stop you. When you download TimeBolt, you're going to want to know 3 things. First, does it work on my file? Second, how do I cut out parts that I don't want? Third, how do I share and export my footage into other design editors?
The bad news is you're going to be spending a lot of time doing technical manual edit cut work of basically looking for blank spots in an audio waveform, doing cut, cut, delete. Okay, if you're looking at an hour-long Zoom call, that's 900 cuts, 2,700 keyboard actions, and 4 to 5 hours of intensive manual work. And if you can solve this problem, you save editors so much time, you literally improve the quality of life. We built a desktop app that automatically cuts long form, it automatically removes long video, silences on a long video content. You can preview the video and audio up to 4x speed, cut any scene or word. You can speed up silences. So for example, if you're a professor writing on a chalkboard, it just spits across the board 4x speed. You can add transitions and apply looping background audio for additional rendering enhancements. And then you simply click a button and you export a well-cut, dead air free video within 48 seconds versus 4 hours, right? For the designers, for designers that are building inside Final Cut and Adobe Premiere, they are able to export XML, and we have native plugins for these platforms that get designers into these programs at 450% faster. Just so you're very clear on the process, you simply are recording on your phone, you're recording on your computer through OBS. You have a file on your desktop, you drop it right into TimeBolt. It cuts out all the boring stuff automatically in 48 seconds. You can then render a shareable file right from that point. Or if you want to export into popular design editors, you also have that option. We were founded in December 2019. We're bootstrapped. We're averaging about 22 unique downloads a day. We have around 700 active paying subscribers with our annual and lifetime subscriptions. We have around 1,200 lifetime customers, and these are people that paid 3 times what our annual subscription cost. So it wasn't, some kind of give me there. And we're at now around 8,300 downloads, and we're from St. Louis, Missouri. In 2019, TimeBolt was the first desktop editor the first jump cut app to automatically cut out dead air. Today, there are 5. TimeBolt still remains the only desktop editor, which means we don't have expensive API calls, server lag, file size limits, resolution limits. This is all done on your desktop where the file's at. So again, it's a much faster proposition. We also have the only full timeline editor for the desktop. Of our 8,200 downloads, it's split between novice, never opened a video editor before, to advanced level editors. We're targeting the YouTube channels, the game streamers. This right here with our educators in 2020, this was about 30% of our customers. Since COVID and people have ended up back kids have ended up back in class, that number has dropped. Our sales haven't though, right? And then also we're looking at enterprise and business employees, particularly the marketing departments, which we identified through the ITEN validation program is the ideal group to talk to. You already edit email, Word docs, PowerPoint slides. And now now you can control the output of your video, make it faster, sound more concise with the push of a few buttons. And with TimeBolt, you can control every second. And I'm out of time. Thank you.
Because I'm gonna have everybody
Oh,
else
sure.
come on up. So we can just have a look. Grab a chair. You get to pick first. Come on, peoples. Go. Come on, presenters, get up here so we can have a little bit more of a discussion. But yeah, thanks to all of our presenters. As you might have seen, I failed to mention this at the beginning. They were given a choice of doing a traditional 5-minute pitch if they were felt ready to put that together and put that narrative together, or to talk about their journey. So some of them included some about their process and about their journey that they went through. But I wanted to just, I'm going to stop sharing the screen. Yeah, did I stop sharing already? Okay, yeah, I already did. Okay. Sorry. I wanted to just give you guys an opportunity to ask questions of them, but before we dive into, I'm sure I'll give you guys a few minutes to think of questions. If you guys can just share what was the most surprising thing about the process that you went through in your customer discovery, things that are different than what you thought the customers were going to tell you. Anyone can just jump in here.
I forgot that there was a problem because I had spent so many years focusing on solving the solution that it was good to revisit that. Understand again why we're doing what we're doing.
Others surprised about where they ended up?
I can describe my product without actually telling you the type of cut. It's a jump cut. There, I said it. Okay.
We jumped all
Actually,
over. Yeah, no pun
There
intended,
was
but we
like,
jumped all over
you know
that.
what a jump cut, like, there's 50 million YouTube channels, but no, I didn't know about the techniques in 2019, and I didn't have to say it to you, thankfully to the great mentors.
That's a big difference from 12 weeks ago.
Yeah. Yes, so we did talk about jargon and how to talk to customers and listen for the words that you should be using and not the words that you're comfortable using. I will say that after the second or third workshop, I started using TimeBolt for the Eureka workshops, and they end up being about an hour and 40 minutes instead of 2 hours. Consistently, like right at 1:30 something. And God, I sound so much better. And I don't know. I mean, GV and Emily are already fabulous, so that's not a problem. But I'm like, I just need to walk around with the TimeBolt filter on me all the time.
And once we have the metaverse.
Oh, God.
Yes, exactly.
On the note of jargon, like it was interesting to see, like I'm a technical person just in general. Like I love to like talk about like the inner details of how something works. It was interesting to see that like I knew going in that like the people who would use Podtrics like don't care about that. But it's one thing to know that, it's another thing for it to be hit in the face with that. So it was interesting to see, like, oh, I know you don't care. Wow, you really don't care. So, no, it was kind of a wake up call.
Yeah. Anyone else?
Called sausage making.
Right, exactly. Yep. Well, I know, Jake, you talked about some in your, but I didn't know if you had other things to add, or Harry, do you have something to add? Did you start to say something? I didn't mean to put you on the spot, but I didn't want you to, I feel like you couldn't jump in.
I didn't understand the severity of the problem. Right? I didn't understand how big of an issue it was. And I also didn't understand that what we were doing was somewhat of a solution that hadn't really gone down a path forward. So for example, using video games for learning is quite popular. And that we just kind of like stumbled upon that by accident.
You know, you get to participate in the Geospatial Day out at Lindenwood and have some opportunities to engage out there in that regard.
Yeah, and it was also interesting that the students finally found a creative outlet that they were familiar with, that they could make real, or I guess develop real life skills through the platform. So that's why it's so exciting working with the interns, because actually they're starting before the internship starts because they're so excited about making a contribution. It's really awesome.
Cool. Any other things about surprises, or did anyone change who their customer even is? Like,
Yeah.
Okay. Because I think a lot of you came in with some assumptions about who your early adopters are, or if you came in with a chunk of customers already, like have you?
Like almost educators are buying TimeBolt, during COVID. I'm like, wow, that's probably a pretty interesting market. We got sponsored by Lindenwood. And then, when I get here, I think there's just a big difference between, and what I found is there's a big difference between like having organizational competition versus individual competition and how much the two impact one another. Teachers are either believing that they, need to keep their kids' attention while they're watching video and doing online courses, or they're just leaving it up to them. And I found through these customer interviews, which I hadn't done before, believe it or not, I've talked to hundreds of customers, but it wasn't, I didn't fully understand. Most of these guys were like, when I went to go watch my own video, that's when I saw, that you get anxiety because people are judging you. It's like, why don't you just stop your car right in the middle of a green light and see how infringement, right? I mean, that's just not something that I'd like to do as constantly. So
Yeah.
it was a great experience.
Did you go through ideation too?
Are you
No, it just seems longer ago when we first started.
I was finalist at Arch Grants.
Yeah.
That's when we first.
Yeah, my first presentation, which I thought it was, I thought it was great, right? Of course. And so I'm giving this presentation, and he said to me, "Well, I wish," David's like, I wish," he goes, "if I could just offer one bit of feedback, don't take this wrong, but I'd like to just jump cut the whole first part of your presentation." I was like, "Oh." I was like,
Way
"You got
to
kid
throw
to
it
play." And, I took that to heart. This is the last time I'll give that presentation. Get ready to make a type of video. So.
Questions from you guys? You have anything you want to ask of the
Yeah, I've
panel?
got a question. So my name's Nate. I'm a podcaster, like brand new to it, working with Doorward. So I hear about Doorward all the time from Jake and our, learning about how we engage people and provide value to others. I was interested in hearing your guys' side of what you've learned about providing value to people through these interviews and through your business process as you've grown.
Is that for me?
Everybody.
I'm a podcast guy, so I'm like, oh. I mean,
Although I would like to talk to you later, Mark.
Yeah, that's what the second hour, we'll go hit Beard in a minute. But, yeah, go
I
ahead.
mean, creating value for people. I feel topic right there. I feel like creating value for people doesn't necessarily have to mean monetary value or time value. There's moments of delight that you can do in the little things that the little interactions that you have with customers, whether it be oh my gosh, it's the cheapest solution out there, I'm happy, or oh my gosh, I don't have to do steps 1, 2, and 3 because the solution takes care of it for me. The value that you provide to a customer, I think, at least in my experience, is directly correlated to the amount of delight that you can deliver. And I mean, I want to expand on that, but I'm not entirely sure how. So.
Anybody else want to fill that one?
Well, I believe the long-term value that we have is that we're teaching teachers, right? We're creating educators. That when you teach somebody how to fish, they can feed their own village. And so as we start to expand upon the offerings, I feel like we can pretty quickly provide solutions that people just haven't really thought of yet, or at least brought to different age groups that are younger. Possibilities.
Lee?
Thank you.
Yep.
Question.
Okay.
As brilliant as Judy and I are as trainers.
And humble too.
Exactly.
So,
The best value that you get out of going through a cohort like this is learning from each other. What did you guys get out of the interactions with the other founders that you would never have gotten just from the curriculum?
Great question. Very good.
Apparently they don't know yet.
They're trying.
I think just the support and being surrounded, a lot of times you feel like you're on an island and to have support and know that people don't have it all figured out. We don't have to have it all figured out because we don't have resources.
Well, Pete's not here, but I'm sure he would talk about a few things that he learned, because he always mentioned a couple of things in different calls. But one thing I've been thinking about is the space that it provides. I talked about earlier how, it was kind of in front of us. We can kind of go back to conversations we've had, even prior to starting this program. And I was like, oh yeah, it showed up there, and yeah, it showed up there, and it showed up there. It was in front of us the whole time. But it took like a program like this to create that space where we were kind of far enough away from what we were looking at to, the eyes could focus and you can see what was there the whole time. And I think it's part of what the cohort helps to do is like, okay, everybody's going to be there on Wednesday, even though we think that like we're so busy, we don't have time to get on another 2-hour Zoom call. Like we should be there, right? And then yeah, like there's obviously people are having insights and so it encourages you to go back to okay, yeah, and what's the step this week? Okay, we're formulating the mafia offer, we're formulating the the interview, we're designing a new way to look for the right customer, and so I think that's part of where the value was for
And you guys made us do our homework.
You need to do your homework.
We were held accountable every time we were going to have to present in each class, so.
You're held accountable. There was also, everybody was also extremely available, right? I mean, as you're developing scripts and pitches and stuff, to be able to call on, some great minds and people with great ideas, to be able to help shape that, it's like running through a pinball machine, getting shaped down. So it was a great experience. Mine was Kevin Jones. Of course, was Breakwell, GB. Everybody knows you.
Yeah, and variation of experience with everybody, and everybody was accessible. I think I talked to maybe all of the mentors at different times. So everybody brings a little bit of different experience to the table. And
All right, I have another question.
Sure, go for it.
So now that you guys are done with this, how are you going to hit the ground running, right? Because you've been in kind of learning mode and polishing mode, redefining, and what's now on the other side? Like, what are you going to start really pursuing with these collabs?
Check. Working on that. The average human says 126 ums an hour. Running some algorithms to detect those filler words and keywords. It's just going to be, hey, push this button and I can clean up video. And that's going to be significant. And we've got just being able to push the company along to a point. This has been great with the right messaging. So, do what? I already own the URL and check.com.
wow.
Brilliant.
Thank you. It's I just bought the URL to show that we have a significant stake. Like a spell check.
$12 a year.
Everything I say is in Spanish.
You like Uncheck?
I would have to say what's kind of next for Podtrics journey is, over the last 12 weeks, I was avoiding the topic for as long as I could until somebody said, hey, Podtrics has an identity crisis. Who the heck are you serving? I kind of narrowed that down through the interviews, through talking to people, through the feedback from the mentors. I heard it. So by identifying who I'm going after, it's that new to podcasting / been in podcasting for a little bit. Those are kind of in the same area and are needing the same tools. So by creating relevant marketing content, creating a relevant draw for those people, it's kind of where the focus of Podtrics is going to be. I think for 2022, it's just going to be continued growth and reach into that market segment.
In 2022, we will build the platform, at least phase one of it. So if we secure funding, we'll be able to build it faster. We bootstrapped this whole time. So again, we're just looking at options to be able to build it, but we at least have validated all the sections. So
As we went through the process, we kind of, honed in and had like the little, Eureka moments. We'd had, series of conversations, some of these cold leads that I spoke about. And kind of, we see the like sort of the progress, resonating more or whatever. But even in like the process, like kind of final process of, maybe last week when like, all right, we gotta really put together this presentation now. And even at like some of the framework of putting together this presentation, more little Eureka moments. And that has got us excited about even going back to some of these like cold leads, just like putting that out there, like see how they respond now. And so we're super excited about that.
We have a goal for 200 users by the end of this month. It's where we start charging for revenue in January. I didn't think we'd be that. I didn't think we'd be this far with the platform. But I do want to say, and I don't think anybody's said it yet, but if they have, excuse me. But Connie, thank you so much. You've been amazing with your support, like business development side of things. I feel like we have that on our. I think we have our own business development rep. Like,
Yeah.
So.
Yes. Good job. Yes, thank you for mentioning Connie. Connie's not only our perks person, so making sure we've got a lot of great things for our companies, but she does our social media and is the big champion for keeping an eye on all of you, all 200 ITEN companies. And we're like, it's an ITEN company, retweet, copy, paste.
Some good pictures tonight.
Yeah.
You guys have some tweets you like.
Yeah.
Right now, that's good.
So, yes, absolutely. We definitely want to be a champion for you guys and definitely a big part of that. Thank you. Were you done? I didn't mean to cut you off.
I mean, I feel like we're going gangbusters with the amount of momentum we've been able to carry forward. I think just maybe the only concern that we have, and we're also enrolled in the SLU I-Corps. We've also joined WashU's Business School Marketing Metrics program for next year. So we kind of keep some count. I mean, the accountability is huge, right? Because if I didn't have ITEN or Emily texting me every week, like I would just be lost. Right? So,
This is true.
So thank you. But it's just a lot of momentum, a lot of excitement. So I can't. We haven't even built out as much of the architecture we as planned. So a lot of moving pieces in place.
Awesome.
Thrilled to be part of this. Thank you.
Well, give our presenters one big another round of applause. Thank you for being here. Please stick around, enjoy more forehands. I recommend the Blackberry Pomegranate Seltzer. Mark your calendars for January 18th. Come back and hang out with us some more. Did I miss anything? Was I supposed to say anything else, guys? You in the back? The tall one in the back? Our executive director, Quentin Ortega, who I've also ignored. Thanks so much for coming, guys. Let's get some more beer. Talk to our panelists, pick up the stuff on the table. And thanks so much to everyone who was online. And we'll continue to do these hybrid in 2022. Yeah.
Still reports.
Have a lovely evening.
Get a boss.